For those of you who are unsure just how badly Bobby Jindal and the Republicans have screwed Louisiana, today we learn this. Quote, Louisiana State University said this week that it had been forced to start planning for bankruptcy in response to Governor Jindal's budget. And it's just one of as many as 20 campuses that we're starting to process. LSU President and Chancellor F. King Alexander, which is an awesome name, side note, said that his administration had begun the process of declaring what's called financial exigency, which is essentially an academic bankruptcy, after the state legislature and Jindal's administration had failed to close a budget gap. They say Moody's Investors Service has already downgraded the university's credit outlook, meaning that it would have to pay more to borrow more money. It was also expected to make it more difficult to recruit staff. Because Jindal's budget included $372 million funding cut that the legislature was never expected to pass, overall state funding at LSU would drop from $3,500 per undergraduate student to just $660 per undergraduate student. Whoa. That's amazing. So there was this bill, everybody thought it was a fringe, kook, crazy bill that was proposed. Hey, let's cut funding for education by $372 million. Nobody thought it would pass, but since the Republicans are crazy and Bobby Jindal's crazy as the governor, it did pass. And now they're like, oh my God, we are fuckington. Again, they were getting $3,500 per undergraduate student, and now it dropped to $660 per undergraduate student. They can't stay afloat. Like, what do we do? We're done. There's nothing we can do. We're talking about LSU. Okay. Here's the moral of the story, man. Here are your Republican policies in action. Now, understand, the ideology of Republicans is, drown the government in the bathtub, right? Just starve the beast and then drown the government in the bathtub. We want a government that small. So, in a way, this is mission accomplished for them. Because, look, 20 schools that, you're sucking off the government teat, you're parasites. We don't want to give you no more tax dollars. But see, in their mind, what happens now after this? In their mind, they think, well, the private sector always works better across the board. So what'll happen is you'll have more private institutions pop up and they'll be better. And then everybody who could have gotten a good education before is going to get an even better education now. Here's the problem with that kind of thinking. The latter doesn't actually happen. Look, they say the same thing during depressions and recessions too. They say, well, no, don't do any stimulus. Don't do Keynesian economics. Don't, try to pick up for the lack of spending that people are doing by having the government spend more on infrastructure projects and stuff like that. Don't do that. Do the opposite. Just have the government do absolutely nothing and then watch the private sector come roaring back. And what happens when people try that? It's worse results. We've seen it ourselves. Whenever people have tried right-wing economics, especially during a recession, the recession gets worse. I mean, understand, in Europe, in many ways, they embraced austerity, which is this mindset, when they fell into recession. And over here, in many ways, we did the opposite with the stimulus package and the bailout of GM, for example. And who fared better over that time span? The U.S. fared much better. Our economy picked up much quicker because we actually did stimulus. Whereas in Europe, when they embraced austerity, it got worse. They fell into a deeper recession. It's the same thing going on with the way they're thinking with schools here. We'll just starve the beast, fuck the schools, we don't need education spending, and then the private sector will take care of it. But the private sector won't take care of it. We know what it looks like when you only have private schools and no good funded public schools. What happens is only the rich can afford to go to school. Everybody else is fucked. And you set up a two-tiered society, or you have the haves and the have-nots, the mega rich and everybody else. But look, that may be what they want. Understand, a guy like Bobby Jindal, he's a true believer. He is a true Kool-Aid drinker to the right-wing economic dogma and religion of Reaganomics and, tax cuts on the rich at all costs and deregulation at all costs. And what's going to happen as a result of it? We're seeing the effects of it. We're seeing education is being destroyed, healthcare is being destroyed, infrastructure is being destroyed, taxes are raised on the poor and the middle class, cut on the rich, and everybody's pissed off. Well, here's how you fix it. Stop voting for Republicans.